Oh, hey guys, this is my teacher Chris, and I'm just checking out a book that my friend recommended to me. But you're probably here because you saw my really long but necessary video about S endings. And now you're here so you can find some simple exercises to help you master plural nouns and verbs, specifically subject-verb agreement. Well, let's go check it out. But first, I want you to click that like button and also click that subscribe button. And now, away we go. First, let's start off with something from the last lesson. So last lesson, I said something like, let's see what happens, which let's is short for let us. So I said, let us see what happens. And I said that us is what cause happens to be third person simple present. However, it's actually what that really adds this S ending here. What in this instance is a pronoun, right? So we could say something like, it happens, that happens. Same concept. So we know he, she, it creates this S right here. All right. And in this instance, what is providing the same function as it to create this, to add this S here. So let's jump into the exercises. So maybe we're at school, and at school they say something like, we're going to talk about the history of the United States. So we're going to talk about the history, not only the United States, but we're going to talk about the history of the Americas. Okay, so now, first of all, this is the history of the Americas. Most people are only familiar with America, right? The United States of America. We don't even have to write the history of the Americas. We could just write the Americas. Wow, they said the Americas? Why did they use plural there? Okay, then maybe they say something like, the Native Americans were here first. I don't need to take notes on the whole sentence. I just say something like, the Native Americans. Okay, that's a plural noun. And then I say something like, they say something like, wow, all the European nations really were rushing. They really wanted to come to the United States. So now I just say something like, I just take a note that says, all the European, right? Because I know that this is going to talk about quantity here. So as soon as I hear that, I say all the European nations. Okay. And then maybe they say something like, the Constitution says. So the Constitution says. And I say, okay, the Constitution says. Oh, let me write a note there. The Constitution says, typing too fast there. The Constitution says that we all deserve freedom of religion, freedom of speech. We can say what we want, believe what we want, but we don't take notes on all that. We just write down the Constitution says. So then what we can do is we just take notes as we hear these things. Then we could go back and look at, okay, the Americas that are talking about more than one. Oh, that's right. There's North and South America. So then you start registering it. Okay, then you can start using this term, the Americas. You're more familiar with it now. The Native Americans. You know, they didn't say the people of Native America, or they didn't say the natives. They said the Native Americans. Okay, the Native Americans. Okay, this is obviously just a plural noun here. All the European nations. Okay, they didn't say all the European nation. I know that's an issue that I have, but they said all the European nations. Then they say the Constitution says. It's not the Constitution say. They said say. Okay, the Constitution, that's right. It's a document. So it's almost like saying it says. Okay. All right. So now when I mention the Constitution, or I mention different documents, or a particular document, I know to say, right, says, right? So now you just keep taking notes, and now this is useful for you because now you're also recalling what was said in class, or maybe they're talking about something at work. something they're talking about the annual report. The annual report.
Okay. All right. So then they say something like the annual reports. Reports. It's just one report. It's the annual report. Oh, maybe you write like this at first, and then you look back at it. Think about it. Oh, okay, I need an apostrophe here. Okay, it's possession. Okay, the annual report numbers are up.
Thing. Okay, so that's something that you can do at school, at work, that'll really help. And now let's take a look at something else. So something else we have here is a website that I love to use in my classes. News and levels, great short articles for various levels, level 1, level 2, level 3. Okay, and in here we can read it. We can read it and look for, inside of this, we can look for different S endings. And then we can just try to figure out what they mean and why they're there. So something that will really help. Now I could just read this and say the Japan decided that fans, obviously plural noun, from abroad cannot attend this year's, okay, apostrophe possession, Olympics and Paralympics. Is there more than one Olympics? Is there more than one Summer Olympics? Oh no, Olympics, that's just part of the name, right? So now you're figuring these things out. So what you can do is you can copy and paste an article. Copy and paste an article, or especially if it's for school or for work. Copy and paste it here. And then what you can do as you come across it, you can highlight. You can highlight the different endings
here. And it'll really make them stand out to you. The fans from abroad cannot attend this year's Olympics. The last one didn't highlight, but
all right. So now you could just go through this entire thing and look for different S endings, and you just highlight them as you go. Focus on them as you read. Now, something that's even better, would even be a lot cooler, is if you use paper or an ebook, right? So you use like a paper book, paper magazine, or ebook and highlight things. So let's take a look at this. This is something that I started to go over with one of my clients, one of my students. And this is The Great Gatsby. It's a book. And something that you can do is you could pre-read it for all the S endings. And then you can highlight them as you go.
you highlight them as you go here. All right. You highlight them as you go.
You can just pronounce all these S endings as you go. Because a lot of times the people who forget to use the S endings, they also skip them when they read. So it's connected, right? The reading, the listening, your speaking, your writing, it's all connected. So now when I read through this paragraph, I'm going to pronounce those S's because I highlighted them already. Now I'm also going to look at why the S is here. So the motor road hastily joins the railroad and runs. Ooh, joins. Why joins and runs? Okay, because usually when I speak, I usually say join, right? I usually say run. Okay, but now we know that about halfway through West Egg in New York, the motor road. You highlight something like this, and something like this gives you a clue. It lets you know what is going to happen to the verb. The motor road hastily joins. And I pick up on that. Now, I don't have to highlight motor road. I could literally just highlight joins, runs, okay, and then I make that confirmation, okay, motor road, and then I keep going. So these are just a few things that you can do. I highly suggest paper, all right, that you find the book or a magazine, and then you highlight some of the things in there, and then take it from there. And if you do that, you will start speaking more like a native speaker, and you will also be more understandable. So there you have it, guys. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as reading and writing. But the only thing is that you want to write and read with a purpose. You want to look for those nouns. You want to look for those verbs. You want to look for those quantifiers, okay? These are the things that you really want to look for so that you can master verbs and nouns. Even if you've been here for 10, 15, 20 years, okay, learning English, you can master this if you simply read and write, put in that time, focus on those things. You can do it. Teacher Chris, out. Oh, And don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Peace.